Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about some information that's come out for Stranger Things Season 5. This will involve spoilers for Season 4, so if you've not caught up with, if you've not seen all of Season 4 of Stranger Things, do not watch this because you will get spoiled. So, some recent information that came out from one of the Duffer Brothers is that this next season will be shorter and faster paced. Obviously, they preface by being like, not saying that it's going to be like 100 miles per hour from the very beginning, because that was a big question I had at the end of season 4, like what the structure of season 5 was going to be like because of the way season 4 ended off. Like they even, I think they even said it themselves. I want to say it was like, was it Mike Duffer had said that they've never ended a season off on such a, like, yes, there's like thread lines that continue, but it's like most things typically end up being resolved by the end of the season. They always have their stinger, but it's never like, oh, like once again, this I made the comparison to was it Empire Strikes Back? I think is the one everyone makes a comparison to. Me being me, because I'm more of a, you know, Marvel person than I'm a Star Wars person. I'm immediately like, oh, I definitely get Infinity War vibes from this. And it was like, and I even made the preface like, oh, Stranger Things is literally entering its end game. But yeah, like how dire everything is. Cause I'm like, yo, it's definitely not going to be the typical build up that you normally would get from a season, because it's probably like, yo, like Hawkins is damaged the way it is, and this whole situation is spreading. The upside down is bleeding over into this world more and more, so it's going to be a situation of you're going to be jumping straight into it. It's like, we've got to come up with a battle plan. We got to find Vecna/Henry/1 and take him out immediately. But that's probably going to be easier said than done, because he's had time to go off and lick his wounds, because obviously in the finale there's also like a 2-day like time skip, you know, so that gives the California team time to make their way back to Hawkins, and obviously for the Russia team to find their way back to Hawkins as well. I don't remember where I read this, but I feel like I remember reading it somewhere that season 5 will dive more into maybe the mystery of the upside down, because it is still a thing that our characters, our crew, like, they understand the upside down to some extent. But even there, it's still kind of a mystery, because like the fact is it ended up making Henry into Vecna. We also know that he's the one behind the Mind Flayer. He's been the big bad. It was Vecna/Henry/1 all along. Which that really dives into some interesting stuff, because I'd seen some stuff here and there connecting Vecna and Will, like just thumbnails of stuff being like, oh, some details you'd miss. I haven't watched anything yet, but that did get me thinking. It's like, right, Will does have a special connection to the upside down, doesn't he? I mean, 11 has her own connection. I mean, we've seen she's had a connection for a very long time. She's the one that first opened the doorway to push Vecna through. But obviously, even like last season, Dustin was like, we have no idea how old the upside down is. Maybe it could have been like here for like millennia. It's like a mirror image to this world. But when we saw Henry/Vecna/1 get put into the upside down, it did not look like the upside down of Hawkins. It looked like a barren wasteland, at least where he landed. I don't know if that's supposed to be like, oh, he landed somewhere outside of Hawkins. Is he the reason why the upside down of Hawkins looks like Hawkins? Like, did he create like a, because he was able to make the Mind Flayer and shape that, could it be that he shaped that area to look like, is he the one behind the upside down version of Hawkins? He needed to materialize a world he was familiar with to some extent. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, maybe the justification is that he didn't land some wasteland version of the upside down. But you typically, when you go to the upside down, you just go to the mirrored version of the location you're in. So that's what's interesting about that. What's also fascinating kind of along those lines is we discovered last season that time in the upside down froze. The time in the upside down froze the moment Will disappeared and ended up in the upside down. All time stopped there. And I was like, that's an interesting detail. They, like, Nancy references that when they try looking for guns in the first volume of season 4, and it's like, wait, why is that? Was that something because of Vecna? But you'd also have to deal, it must have to deal with the fact is that Will escaped because he's the only person that's been in the upside down. Maybe Vecna was trying to make, well, because at first I'm like, not unless he was trying to make Will, like he saw something in Will that reminded him of himself, and so that maybe, you know, I think maybe you could all make the argument maybe there's some like parallels between the two, where it's like Will is this creative person just because of like, you know, he draws, and he's also like the major like DM for like their Dungeons and Dragons game, and then you have Vecna, who wants to rewrite the world to be what he wants it to be. So I think you could see some interesting parallels there. Plus, they are so connected even deeper than that, because once again, Will's the one who escaped, but then like he got possessed by the Mind Flayer in season 2, but then in season 3, he's the one that constantly senses Vecna / Henry / 1, but then it's like, well, that's because he got possessed by the Mind Flayer, who was Henry / Vecna / 1 the entire time. So, but obviously it never came up too much in season 4 because he was in California most of the time. Well, not in Hawkins, but the moment he came back, now he has a name to like put to this feeling and this person that's behind it all. So I think that's going to be a more prominent thing in season 5 potentially because of that connection. That connection might be Vecna / Henry / 1's undoing, or it might play into some stuff happening with Will, especially because maybe the state that he's in, where it's like, yeah, we got to join together, but his unresolved situation with Mike, not being able to tell Mike how he really feels, maybe he'll finally be able to confide in Jonathan about it, and that might resolve some stuff. But maybe Vecna sees kind of either he's going to try and make Will his body just like he did kind of in season 2, but make it a more permanent thing. Who knows? Circling back really quickly to the whole conversation about this season being shorter and faster pace, the conversation I should have finished this up earlier was that the episodes probably will not be as long as they were this past season, being like, what, I think they were saying the average was like 75 minutes, with the exception of like the second to last episode being like an hour and a half, and the last episode being nearly 2.5 hours. So my question was like, because of the setup of everything, because you're probably going to jump, probably not immediately into it, but you're probably going to get to it a lot faster. There probably won't be as much of a build up this season as it was the previous seasons. So you'll probably get to it a lot quicker. So I could definitely see this season being shorter, and not just like the episode lengths being shorter. Maybe not, because they'd even said it just depends. They haven't started. They're going to start writing the next season. I think in August is when they're starting the writing process and stuff. So who knows how much could change once they start writing this final season. So it might be the average length of a season, maybe like 8 or 9 episodes, and then, you know, the final episode being like this past season is like 2.5 hours. Or it could be like hey, we've got 5 40-some minute episodes and the 6th and final episode, because most things typically the final seasons are shorter. There are exceptions where, like, even if they're shorter, they're still pretty lengthy. So this might be a 6 or 7 episode season instead of 8 or 9, but you never know, because this feels like, once again, they're an end game of just everything coming together. All our heroes are together in Hawkins. Hawkins is in the state that it's in. How much is Hawkins going to find out about the truth about everything that's going on? And as I said, will there be justice for Eddie, his name getting cleared about everything that went down, and him not being the blame for everything? Because there's also the whole, because I don't know if that's going to be something that gets covered. It's probably like, oh, we're probably not going to dive into like the school life and stuff like that, because just the tragic situation that Hawkins is in right now. But I was about to say, like, it probably could end it all with like Dustin taking over the Hellfire Club, him, Mike, Lucas, and Will, maybe Erica, depending on like what grade she's in, because we know she's in middle school, but she might be in high school next year for all we know. Probably like another year or two, but still, the whole passing of the torch type of situation that they set up with Dustin and Eddie. But obviously, these are just some of my thoughts, some of the thoughts going through my head. I'd love to get to know yours in the comments down below. What do you take the shorter and faster pace to mean to you? What do you really fully expect to be the structure of season 5? Once again, they're about to start writing next month, so who knows how much is going to change in that time frame. But I'd love to know your thoughts about everything, as well as some of the other thoughts I had thrown out there as well. Just let me know how you're feeling and what you're thinking about the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.